Hey everybody, it's a Mad Master here. I'm just doing a video today. The Democrats destroyed the economy. And this one is kind of a long time coming with when I realized last year that the Democratic Party never really truly represented my interests, but even less so now. That does not mean that I'm a Republican by any means, or even like the Republicans, other than with some of the viral policies. Maybe, ostensibly they were, marginally better in some ways, or a lot better in other ways, like for civil liberties, and so forth. So the problem is that last year started out with extremes, closed down everything, but you gave all this money with little protest to the richest of the rich to stay afloat. Crony capitalism at its worst. And in the process, 60% of businesses that went under forever last year. They closed my favorite coffee shop. A comic book store that I've been going to was open, and he actually had, it's kind of funny because he had there was a local cop in the area that didn't close him down. He got lucky, so, because he was, I guess the cop was a comic book fan. It's kind of funny. I'm not going to say what comic book store there is. There are several in the area, so it might not even be in this town either, so so it's kind of funny. So the impetus of, in my area, it's not as extreme, okay? So there's some areas that these governors and mayors just totally went crazy. No support for the people, for real. I mean, other than maybe the unemployment stuff, which now people are complaining about for whatever reason, on the right, which is bullshit. Just have to call that out. I mean, if the one good thing that came from Trump and then the Democrats now is that the unemployment, some of the unemployment policies in place because of what happened last year with the crisis, did help people a little bit, But there's still, all these businesses closed, mid-sized and under, and I blame the Democrats because they bent over for the stimulus packages that did not give to the people enough as far as businesses go, or the people in general. You had this patchwork bullshit all over the country. I'm talking about the United States. So to add insult to injury, I'm doing the smacking thing again, that troll better not, oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, this troll was giving me some shit on one of my videos because I have stuff that I do in videos or whatever. I don't know. So we had what happened was, people would shame people that were going to gatherings or protesting the government. A month later, oh, it's a 180. Of course, both protest, movements I have some sympathies for, because I don't like big government, intruding on people's lives, whether it be cops or governors or mayors telling you what you can or can't do in your house. So I had sympathies with both. And, I do think there is racism in policing, or, at least racial profiling and stuff. This is admitted. So, and that might piss off a couple, some of my fans on this channel, but, whatever. But to add insult to injury, they said, oh, go protest, It's like, and then there were riots, and then businesses started putting up their own face masks called, you know, boarded up windows, and the faces of the businesses were masked up too. So you had businesses that closed because of that, or were fucking burned down in some cases. And these, you know, the Democrats just, oh, well, we can virtue signal and agree with all this stuff. Oh, you know, of course, they don't really do anything about it. They didn't really do much about any kind of police issues, you know, as far as like changing things from the ground up in these organizations or these police, you know, things. I mean, Biden is a fucking cop's, I mean, for most of his political career, he's been a cop's wet dream, you know, the Crime Act and the drug war. He was a drug warrior, you know. So, in essence, he had these different fronts, and then at the same time, and Trump was part of this too, all this printing of the money, which causes is causing inflation and is destroying the economy as we speak. Now, I do think it's going to recover. Don't get me wrong, but the Democrats ostensibly are to blame in many ways for the destruction of the economy. Now, I think the economy would have had a recession or a crash even without the virus and what happened last year. I'll tell you why. Basic economics and Keynesian economics, which we are under, even with Trump and these pseudo-libertarians that support him, you know, oh my God, Trump is like, oh, he's a real deal. And it's like, no, he's still a crony capitalist. He still believes that, you know, he's still a Keynesian economic person. Probably some of his banking, or, I mean, some of his like bankruptcies or whatever probably were saved because of government. You know, I haven't looked into all that stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's used the government for his advantage. But the whole thing with, you know, those two fronts, you know, the riots and the virus, the lockdowns and closings of everything, it just was stab after stab against the economic state of the country. That actually, you know, I mean, just like with Reagan or, you know, Trump, there was a rise in the economy. It was doing well. That doesn't mean it would do well forever, just because it is rising. It is boom and bust cycles. So Trump got reelected, you know, a year after or something, there could have been another recession. That's just the way it goes. And then the next time there's a Democrat, you know, it's just, that's the way the shit works. So right now, you know, it's a crisis though. We have a real crisis with the oil prices, the inflation, and all this stuff. And that's something that these Democrats and all their bootlicking sycophants aren't really taking into account, because you know what you have on the other side. And this is a warning. The midterms might get really bloody. Not literally bloody, mind you, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Republican wave or a red wave, because a lot of people, more, you know, minorities voted for Trump last time than they ever did. And keeping that in mind, you know, once like these lockdowns that just killed people's jobs, you know, Texas and Florida and other southern states are getting economic booms. People are moving there. There's a massive exodus out of these states, out of these blue states. I live in a purple state, so it's not so bad. There's just a mix. It's a mix of different things. So I'm talking about in regards to the virus stuff. So what you're going to have possibly is a red wave next time. They're going to have to, you know, unless they do some shenanigans, which I wouldn't be surprised by, because they always do. That's why I didn't really, last time, the shenanigans, honk honk, to paraphrase 6X and Hammer. I'm not going to say what I think about it on this channel. I don't believe some of the narratives being pushed by the right about that, but I sort of believe in the more moderate position that things might not have been, I'm going to use code words from now on. Things might not have been cheated on the diet at Jenny Craig selection process, but they were pushed along those lines to go that route, to eat that cake, right? They were pushed, you know, a committee might change the rules at the last minute and say, oh, just like with the Green Party, you know, it's like, oh, there was a signature missing from the thing or whatever. He's just like, what can I say, you know? So I don't like any of them, you know, but I will have to say that the Democrats destroyed the economy, and there's a lot to account for in this situation. And I'm not going to ever forgive them for what they did to my hold very small faith in, you know, things like Bernie Sanders or AOC back in the day. You know, and oh, well, oh my God, she's like a new person that's going to bring us to the European standards of, you know, Northern Europe, like with Medicare for all and living wages, and we're all going to go to these metal festivals, and, you know, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, Northern Europe. And all this stuff, it's like, no, she was a grifter from day one, you know. I know someone that thinks she was a plant from the neoliberals to fool people, you know. I don't know about that. I'm not going to go that far, but, you know, it's just pretty ridiculous. I'm not going to trust them ever again. And, you know, just like Rose McGowan and others, I'm more mad at the Democrats because they should know better. You know, it's like, you should know this stuff. Just like people apologizing for W now. It's like, you know, I'd almost vote for a Republican at this point because the stupid guile of these bootlicking Democrats these days. That's about all.